otro lugar.
Welcome to a month in Mexico City. I got to stay at my friend Max's family's house in Interlomas, and I kicked off the first day by just grabbing some food. We grabbed some smoothies, and then Max's cousin joined us, and we did lots of shopping, mainly for alcohol, but that is on brand. Max made us some food that first night, and we all just hung out. It was a great intro to the month that was full of lots of working from home, as you can see here, and getting to explore a little bit. We decided to join a couple of gyms this month, and we got short-term passes for places like Commando, which was really fun and kind of like Orange Theory. Most mornings were spent making breakfast and working, and then we would go to the mall or get food. As you can kind of see, we also were doing a Pilates class, which was fun. We ended up in these mall areas a lot. And then each weekend, people came to visit. So Sierra and Dragos were the first weekend. We went to Licorería Limantour, and then we went to see a lucha libre fight, and it was really fun. It was not at all what I expected. I don't really know what I thought it was going to be like, but I had a great time. It was very theatrically based and entertaining versus just watching people beat each other up. So I actually really enjoyed that a lot more than I thought. Also, as a recovering vegetarian, I was eating a ton of tacos and different meats this month, which was kind of fun. Max then took us into the city center to explore, learn a little bit about the history of Mexico City, and we ended up getting to see a lot of really cool areas, and it was so hot, so we ended up having a fun little adventure this day. We got to see the Bellas Artes Palace from one of the buildings nearby, which was a really great view. We went to the Ritz Carlton for drinks in an amazing view. We ended up here a couple times this month, and it was a good little tradition. Then we saw a sunset. It was great. Had a lot of tacos again, and then we played a minute to win it kind of game, because it was raining and we didn't end up wanting to go out, so we just spent some time together. And then on Sunday, we went through some different areas and went back downtown. We saw the cultural center and got to go through the park, which was super fun. They had a lot of museums that we got to check out, and it was really enjoyable. Max was a great tour guide for this entire month, just telling us so much about everything and everywhere. We had another little game night, and it was wholesome. It was a nice little way to spend that time together. Then it was time for Sierra and Dragos to head out, so we ended up going back to Commando for a workout class and had kind of a low-key day. The next day, we tried 9-round fitness. We were really in our workout summer era. It was nice. I liked it a lot. Had to get Electrolyte, a classic. And then all of a sudden, it was time for Abby to get here. So she and I went to a Pilates class at PB Studio, and it was so much fun. We ended up getting sushi and drinks for dinner in the Interlomas area as well. And then we did some shopping, got to just navigate that on our own because Max wasn't there. The next day we went to Parque La Mexicana and got a lot of work done there. We went to this cafe that we were starting to go to a lot called Peltre La Mexicana, and the food was great. Max and his cousin had been unwell, so they ate plain chicken, but we got good food, so that was nice for us. Abby was on vacation, so she was reading a book while I was writing some articles and just trying to grind it out before another weekend of activities. We went to Carajillo that night, and it was a girls' night because the boys were still not feeling great, and we wanted them to be better for the rest of the weekend. And it worked. So we ended up in Coyocán the next morning, and we were supposed to go to the Museum of Frida Kahlo, but...
That's what happened.
We bought the ticket for last week, living in the future.
That's interesting. That's crazy.
The tickets got booked incorrectly, as you can see. But all is well that ends well. We ended up going to get some coffee, and we were at the artisanal market instead. It was super nice, it was fun. I also got to speak a lot of Spanish during these adventures, which was great because I don't want to lose my Spanish, and I don't speak nearly as much as I should in the States, so this was a really nice change of pace. It was so fun to be together also in a Spanish-speaking country with Annie and Abby because we all really met and bonded in Chile, and so this was really fitting. We all went to dinner and went out to some clubs that kind of reminded Annie of Madrid. It was funny. The next day, we got some esquites finally. I was really just craving those, and I was so excited to be here. We saw lots of puppies. It was cute, kind of sad, but kind of cute. We got some food, and then Annie had to go, so Abby and Max and Mali and I went to the Chapultepec castle and got to explore that before getting some food and going to Handshake for drinks. This is one of the top bars in the world, and honestly, it was so great. It was amazing to get to try so many crafted drinks. We went back out that night, fun. Then the next morning, Abby and I got some coffee, and we ended up back at the Frida Kahlo Museum, which was cool. Back by Bellas Artes to say goodbye to Abby. She was going to the airport. And then we got some churros before we headed back. But before going back to Max's house, we ended up going around Coyocán a little bit more, and it was really cute. It was fun to get to do that. Na, 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 na. Started the morning at Commando before hanging out and having some sushi for the night, which was really nice. It was a chill day. Monday kicked off again with some more remote work as per usual. I went back to Parque La Mexicana and got some work done that evening. It was a pretty work-centric day. Then on Tuesday, we had to get up really early to go to our flight, which headed to Tulum. We landed in Cancun, and I actually ended up having a car that I was driving on the way there, so that was cool. I had some kind of alone time after we got some food. Then we met up with Brooke, and it was really fun to get to see her. Tulum is a place that I've always ended up being with Brooke, and so that was really fun. It was special to get to be there again all together. Also, Max and Brooke and I spent a couple weeks there last year too, and it was just so nice to have such a good Airbnb to not only work from home, but just to hang out and get to spend time together, especially now that Brooke and I live on opposite sides of the country. So that was it was fun. We went to Bajuco for dinner, which is super yummy, would recommend. The next morning, Brooke and I got up and got some breakfast, always complimented by our lecture leads before doing some business meetings. Exciting. We grabbed some drinks, got some food together to celebrate that, and then the next day we had a little chill morning again. It had rained, but it was much nicer at this point, and so no complaints on my end. Brooke and I were hanging out at the pool a lot. As you can see here, we did a lot of laying out, but like reading and talking, and just this was a great spot to be. Here's a little bit of an overview of our Airbnb just to give a sense of where we were staying. It was honestly a huge place.
What's up? I haven't vlogged at all, but we've been in Mexico City for like 2 weeks, and now we're in Tulum. It's just me and Brooke because Max left us.
Nice.
Anyway, we are about to go to a cenote, and we've been in Tulum for like days, but we've been doing some business things. Stay tuned. Ew. Anyway, that's it. Bye.
We went to Cenote Nicteja. I don't know if I'm honestly pronouncing that right. We went to another cenote that we hadn't been to before, and it was absolutely stunning. It was so beautiful. We got to see a ton of lily pads and just brighter colors than a lot of the cenotes that I've been to before had.
This is the inside peek at life with an influencer.
After the cenote, we watched some Black Mirror and had another calm night in before going to dinner and grabbing some Italian food. It was really yummy. And that was that. The next day, we all grabbed some breakfast together and got to catch up before we headed to a beach club. We went to a place called Vagaloom, which was kind of funny because Max and one of our other friends and I had been there years ago, but to see it in that way was really interesting. I did a cold plunge, which was really fun before we all grabbed some food and then just got to explore the area a little bit more. It was the perfect kind of chill beach day, and I was very grateful. Here is Gleb being a menace, as per usual.
What is up? Welcome to another country, another talk tour.
We love a talk tour. Next place.
Next place.
About to hit the bus.
And then another club. No sleep. It's Sunday.
Agenda up.
Hidden agenda. Happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday.
We had some amazing food for dinner, and then we went to Hat Hostel, which is a classic. You cannot come to Tulum without coming here. I don't care how old we are or how nice of clubs that we can get into. I love Straw Hat. It was so fun. And as you can see, Gleb was loving it too. He ended up stealing Max's glasses. I don't know how this happened, but you know, whatever, so be it, I guess. It was a good Sunday. Monday morning, Brooke and Max and I had another meeting, and then we went to go check out a property in Tulum, which is exciting. Now that it's been a long time, it actually is more of Max's thing than Brooke's and mine anymore, but it was still a really cool experience and something that I hope to get to be a little bit involved in as the time comes. Next morning, we went to breakfast. Again, got these green smoothies. It was so good. We went back to the beach actually today because we just had not had enough beach time. We went to a club called Ana y Jose, and it is one of our other favorite spots in Tulum. I know it's kind of a basic place to be, but it's just really nice to get to be back and be in an area like this where there's the beach, but there's also just some spaces to get to relax and just do our thing. So this was our last day. We had breakfast before going, and I drove back to Cancun. I got my nails done. I had kind of a solo day, which was really nice actually, before we got to the airport. And we went into one of the clubs, got some modelos, and that was the end of that. We got back to Mexico City in the morning, and I filmed some B-roll for a video of Max that I'm doing. It's gonna be a documentary style video that's kind of been in the works over time, over lots of locations for quite a while, so I'm excited for that.
It's giving behind the scenes.
This is how to answer all my questions. Secrets to good answers.
We went this time to another top-rated bar called Hanky Panky. It was so highly recommended by so many people that saw that I was in Mexico City for as long as I was, and as with any experience that I've had with Gleb and Max, it was incredible. Lots of amazing food, lots of amazing drinks. We saw this Vogue and Just Like That pop-up that was really funny. Gleb loves to perform, as you can also see here, and he was just really getting into it and doing his things. After we played around at the pop-up between drinks and dinner, we grabbed some more drinks, and then we ended up having a moment. Gleb passed out on the street, sort of. Gleb was a little sleepy, as you can see here, but no harm, no foul. The next morning, we were back at Peltre La Mexicana to do some work, and honestly, no complaints. We got some ice cream and hung out. It was really nice. It was a fun little time. And then Max's family was in town, so we got to see them before going out with Max and Gleb and his sister. We were all starving by the end of this, so we got ramen, probably at like 3 in the morning. I don't even know, but it revived me. This was a beautiful experience, and I would love more late night spots everywhere, always. The next morning, we took a little trip with Max's family to Taxco, which is a Pueblo Mágico outside of the city. It was a couple-hour drive, and it was, one, such a fun little road trip, but two, this area is absolutely stunning, and I am constantly in awe of the fact that Mexico is so close, and most people really undervalue it. I know that Europe is such a classic destination for Americans to travel to, but the more that I got to see of Mexico, the more and more I was falling in love with it. It sounds like probably such a basic statement, but I had the absolute best time here, and I already can't wait to go back. It's been a long time since this trip when I'm recording this, and I am so ready to make another little venture back to this part of Mexico. We had lots of drinks and danced with Max's family all night long. It was so fun. It was this quintessentially rainy night that we kind of ended up getting stuck in this bar. We got a bottle of tequila and we just did our thing, and it was really sweet. It was fun to realize that after having been friends for so long, we were all really kind of getting integrated into each other's families, and it's always a sweet feeling to realize that, you know, the people that you love can get to share the people that they love with you. So I love that. Lots of love. We went to a place that I think was called Pozas Azules in the morning, and it was a big waterfall area outside of Taxco. It was gorgeous. We got lost on the way home, but we ended up at this amazing little outdoor restaurant, and then not shown, but we drank so much that night. Which means that the next morning when Gleb and I went to Maximo for food, I was almost too hungover to enjoy it, but not to worry, I still enjoyed it. We ended up back at the Ritz after I showed Gleb around a little bit, and by this point I felt like I was a tour guide, which was really fun to know the area so well. Our last morning we went to one last workout class and then got some smoothies before we finally got to shop for good tequila. This was something that we were really excited to do after having tried Max's family's tequila for years. We ended up at Korean barbecue with some family friends to end our last night, and it was so sweet. It was such a great way to round out the trip. The last day, Gleb and I headed back home together. We ended up in a lounge and then got driven to our gate, and that is a wrap on Mexico.